Hello all, welcome back to CyberCreed, and today in this video we are going to see how you can perform web scraping. And the web scraping that we are going to see are basically going to be of two types. One is where we are going to learn how we can scrap static contents, which means these static websites are those type of websites where if you right click and see view page source, the HTML code that is present on the website is also present in the code. So most of the websites are like this, but some of the websites that have came are now dynamic. Like the website comes and load, and then the entire HTML code of that website is loaded using JavaScript. So in that case, if you are going to inspect element and view page source, you are going to see just the JavaScript code. None of the HTML content or even the articles that are written. Like here you can see, I am a software engineer. These things will not be mentioned there. So how we are going to scrap that? So that is what is coming up in this video. So please make sure to watch till the very end. And of course, if you want to skip to that dynamic part, you can skip that. But just remember that dynamic content is slower than the static one. So if you want fast, use the first route. If your website is just dynamic, you can't do anything, you can't help, then use that second method. So with that said, let's get this video started. Let us understand how we can scrap the static website. So the site that I am going to take example of is 1mg. So 1mg.com. So what is this site usually for? So this is the website used for medical data. So it contains all the medicine names and their pricing. So let us suppose you want to get each and every medicine name with their respective price. It is just a project. You can be using it for any purposes, but let us take the example for now that you are going to use it for just creating a list where user can search the medicine price. So it is the use case. So if we want to scrap all the medicine names, first of all we need to find the URL that contains all the medicine names at single place rather than things like that. So what I am going to do, let me just copy the URL where it is there. So I'll just copy and paste it here. So here you see 1mg drugs / all medicine. So here this is the website, this is the web page that we will be scraping with. And before starting the scraping, let me just explain what all details we are going to scrap from this website. The first thing, here you can see this is the name of the medicine, right? And this is its MRP. This is the amount in which it is available. And here again, here is the same. But we are going to scrape all these names starting from the letter A, ending to the letter Z, and then this is the one layer, but there is another layer. For each A, there are 902 pages. If I click on 2, it is going to take me to the second web page that contains this all medicine names, and then 2, 3, 4 till 902. So we are going to see how we can know how many total pages are there, and then we can scrape easily with that. So there are multiple of things to learn from this video. So please make sure to hit that bell icon so that you never miss any future updates. We keeps on creating contents like this, and just also press that like button if you are going to learn something new from this. So now let us start our work. So for starting the work, first of all, let's go back to the first page. So let us try to derive the logic for just scraping this name, just this, because as in programming we have to keep on building the blocks and we can keep on changing it, first with a small and then a big. So what we are going to do, we are going to see how we can scrap the first letter, then how we can scrap all of them, and then how we can scrap all of the A's, and then we can apply the same logic to how we can scrap all this letter from A to Z. So let's start. So I will be using Jupyter Notebook because it is very interactive. We can just see what is happening inside our code in the real time. You can use any code editor. So what I'm going to do, I will open up my terminal. I will just cd to downloads. Okay, sorry. And okay, let me just go to my desktop. Cd desktop, and then I will make directory mkdir scrapping. I will just name it scrapping, and I will cd into scrapping. And then here you can either use Jupyter Notebook or you can use the Jupyter Notebook inside the VS Code. So let's try this Jupyter notebook. So if you have installed this Jupyter notebook, if you don't have, please make sure to install it like this. But there is one easier and simpler way which I will be using. I will just Control C to quit it, and then I will just open my VS Code. Before opening that, I will just create a file. So I will just write touch, let's say scrap.ipynb. This is for interactive cell. So I will just write code dot, so it will open up my VS Code, and here is my scrap.ipynb file. So before going into this, let me just split the screen. And this one should be in the half right. So here you see there is just one single file here, and here is the code that I am going to write. So first of all, we need to import some of the libraries. So we will be scrapping this website. So for that we need to import some of the libraries. So I have already written down the names or written down the code so that we don't have to keep on looking for that, but I will explain. First library is request. So what is the request library? Request library is used to go to this particular website and get the data from it. So it is just like opening the browser and you are seeing these things. But what it is going to do, it is going to go to that URL, fetch the HTML contents, and then it is going to supply us with that. And then here is the BeautifulSoup. So what does BeautifulSoup is going to do? BeautifulSoup is going to create and beautify our HTML contents in such a way that we can easily browse through our HTML contents. It is something like if you have learned about Python, you know about dictionary. So it is just like if you say list all the H1 content, BeautifulSoup will do it for us. Because BeautifulSoup is used to make our HTML browsing experience smoother and easier and more efficient. Or else we have to write the code, write logical statement for finding every H1, but with the help of BeautifulSoup, it is going to do it for us. So default dict, the use of the default dict we are going to see in future. So if I will try to explain this in a short, it is just going to create a dictionary, and here if you are going to put a new key and then write the value to it, it will just it will not throw any error, and it can just keep on incrementing values or adding things like that. So we will see that in a later part. But here I am also importing pandas, because once we are done with it, we are also going to put everything inside a data frame, and then we are going to export all the details into a CSV file or Excel file or whatever format you suits, even the SQL one. Yes, SQL one is also possible. So here are the libraries that are currently needed. But first of all, let's run the cell. So let me just select the kernel. Let me just go with the base one. So it is connecting. So till it is connecting, we have to specify the URL. So URL where our code should go to get all the data. So I will just write URL is equal to, and then this URL. So of course our first cell have run, and I will just use in double quotes. Now here let's try to get every content on the website to our Python code. So how we can do that? We can just request this particular URL to get into our system. So how we are going to do that? Let's just write, I will just create a res is equal to request dot get URL, and if I run this and if I print res, so here you are seeing res is printing 200, which means we have successfully got the website. There was a website, it was nothing of a fraudulent link, or the link was correct. This code means success. And then if we want to get dot content, so dot content is going to give us all the HTML format of it. It is quite gibberish, as you can see. So let us just try to find if this particular name is available inside this or not, because it can be static or it can be dynamic or whatever. So let me just create a temp. Temp is equal to this str of And now if I print temp, you can see everything is converted into text format, because we can use simply in option to check if it is there or not. So here we are going to see or check if this particular name is available or not. So I can do inspect. So inspect is the thing that we use in web scraping for most of the time. So I will just do it, expand it a bit. I will just click here, click on the name, click on the div tag, copy the name, go to the code, and let's check. If this is in our string or not. So it is there inside our string, because that is why it is returning true, which means we are getting this. So this is a good sign that we have got the HTML content with everything that is on the web page. So this is very important to check, because some of the times when you are going to doing a web scraping on certain website, you are not going to see the particular content inside that, and for tackling that sorts of problem, we have to use something known as Selenium. So we will be looking at that at the later part of the video, but let's study bit by bit, and let's gain our knowledge slowly. So here we can see that the strings are present. Now we have to create a beautiful soup out of it. So creating a beautiful soup is also pretty much easy. Let me just before moving forward, I would like to add one thing. Sometime when we are scraping even the static website, it is going to throw error, like the HTML content will not be available. So in that case, sometime the website knows that you are trying to scrap it, and none of the website allows, like very few website allows you to scrap it properly. So what it is going to do, it is going to tell that hey, this is the code. So this is the automated bot or anything like that is trying to get the content from the website. So don't provide it the content. So there we need to use a header. So what are the headers? So headers are something that it is going to mimic that the request is made by a browser, not via code. So that is something that a header can do, and let me just simply show you how we can use this. So I can simply write something like this. So header is equal to user agent, and then here is the name of the browser. So you can just search on the Google itself if you are new. I will be providing all the code in the GitHub section, but if you need to learn, or if you just here I have used the Firefox, you can Mozilla Firefox, you can also use the Chrome. You can search headers, or you can just search user agent, let's say Firefox. So here you can see here you can get for all the specific devices, and you can just simply paste it here. And what it is going to provide you, it is going to provide you the ability to mimic the requests are being sent from an actual browser instead of just being sent via the code. And this is very useful. So most of the time, or almost all of the time, I just make sure to include this header before sending the request. So I should get the best possible HTML content every time that is getting by a browser. So this is very important piece of code. So next, what we need to do, so if we are using the header, we need to send the request to that particular URL with that particular header, such that it knows, hey, for this URL, it is request is coming from this Firefox browser. So I will just simply copy the code from here. I already have it, just to make the things a little bit easier. So I'll write something like this. Response is the thing that we are going to get. So request dot get this particular URL, and here we have inside this get function, we have the parameter known as headers. So this allows us to specify the header. So here headers is equal to headers, which is this. So this will just make sure that our website know that the request is coming from it is coming from a web browser instead of the code. So it is just trying to fool them. So if we run the same, okay, I have not run the cell. Now it is okay. Now we need to create the soup. So in order to create the soup, we are going to be using this beautiful soup. So I will just let me just copy and let me explain. So we use soup. This is just a variable name. This is nothing personal or nothing things like that. We just normally use soup. It is a standard name used in while web scraping, so that other developer also know, but the name can be anything. But here we are going to use this BeautifulSoup. This is the BeautifulSoup that we have imported, and here we are going to pass the HTML content of it. So here we have already seen this response.contents is just going to throw everything that is HTML in nature. It is going to simply print the HTML content. So here HTML content is thrown to this BeautifulSoup to generate a more strategic or mannered way of HTML that you can say. And then here we are specifying to use the HTML parser. There are multiple of parsers, you can use any of them, but most of the time I use HTML parser because it is faster and better than the rest in my opinion. You can use any. Then here you can see if I do su soup dot prettify, you can see now again we are seeing the same HTML, but here it is in a more scalable way. It is not going to be showing in a good format because this website is super junky, but this is the soup object have every HTML content that we are looking for. Now here till now this is the basic thing that we are going to do with each and every web scraping website out there before doing a web scraping things. So now what? Now we actually need to find how we can get this. So here if you see, here we are already at this part. So here if you try to see, here inside this div we are getting this name. So in the soup you can do as soup dot find all. So find all is simply going to find all the particular tag HTML tags that you specify. So if you write div, so here you see what it have done. It has basically created a list. So let me just here length of div, because it is going to return multiple each and every div out there inside this HTML content. So there are total 612 div tags inside this entire web page. But this is not going to make our work easier, because how we are going to know inside which div does this name belong? So for that we will look at the upper class, so inside which this is present. So let me just zoom it out, because this is going to be very important while doing any sorts of web scraping thing, is finding the particular class name and the tag name. First of all, we should try to find if you are looking for this names. So this is a div style product card. Let me see. And here it is. Let me. Okay, this is the most trickiest part for doing the things. So if we write this if we are looking for this, what we can actually do, we have to specify the class that is responsible for it. So here you see this is the class name. So this is the class name that is so this is the class name, because remember we need the name of the medicine as well as the price. So here inside this one we have both the name and the price, and then here remember we have to scrap each and every one of them. So make sure to select something that is common in each of them. So here if you see, it is something like div style bold 1k 9dl, and if we go here, so here you all can also see style front bold 1k dl. So you have to find something universal, because we are not going to specify for each and every one of them. And yes, the developer while developing the website also don't use different name for different of those. For similar thing they are going to write a similar code, because what is this? The first box is just the replication of the second one. So that's why everything is going to be copy pasted from the developer side, and that is what we are going to be using in our code. So as here we can see inside this container, so if we do like this, so inside this container only we have this div, right? So here is the class name that we need to put into our code. So what we are going to do, I will just simply shorten the code, and let's go to here, and instead of finding, let me just create a name like medic. Okay, medic, and then here you can soup dot find all. Here we can also provide the class name. So here to provide the class name, what we do, we do class and underscore. This is very important because as we know, class is the reserved keyword for Python. So we need to use this underscore sign, and then here we need to specify the name of the class. So the name of the class is, okay, so I'll just simply copy the name of the class. Just don't copy anything extra, just make sure it is from starting to this, and I'll just simply paste it here. Now we have the list of the medics. So if we do now, so medic is nothing but a list. अब वॉशिंग मशीन चलाना है क्या? वॉशिंग मशीन चलाने जा रही हैं क्या? बंद कर देंगे। हाँ। So now here we have the medicine, and if we do just the 0 like the first one, here if we try to expand it and see, there should be the name of our medicine. Yes, here is the name of our medicine, which is inside the div tag. So there is one easy way to just remove all this HTML content, and that is just use dot text. If you are just going to use the text, you are going to see here is the name of the medicine, and here is the MRP and the price, like that. So this is how easy it is to get the name of the medicine. So for 0, this is one. For if we go to the website, so this is the let's try to find out the second one. So as we know, in the list indexing start from 0. So this was the 0, and this is going to be the 1. If we run this code again, so agreement 625 duo tablets. So this is how easy it is. But now we need to make sure to put all of them inside a loop, so that we can loop from starting till the end. But here comes another problem. How many of those are actually there in this particular website? How we are going to know that? That is very simple, because in this medic, this already contains all the divs that are just present on this current page. So this is going to be containing the name till here. So what we can do, we can loop. So for medicine, so just pardon me for my spelling, I know it is wrong. In medic, if we do print medic medicine dot text, here we are going to be seeing the name of all those medicines till this 81 2mg. We are seeing all of the name, but here we need to also make sure that the price is just scattered from it. So we need to split it, the name of the medicine and the price of it. So how we are going to do? Let's try to see that. In Python, if you have studied Python, well, it's good, but please make sure to study Python if you are not comfortable about what I'm going to speak. That is the split function. What we can do, we can split on the basis of this MRP, because MRP is the text that is coming in every sentence, so every line, every name of the medicine. So let me just simply say, okay, let me just use this, and let me just rename this to medics. So for in medics, now what we are going to do, first of all we need the MRP or the price. So we can say price is equal to med dot split. So if you are okay, let me first explain, or else some of you might get confused. So here is the med. So if we write dot 0 dot text, so here you are seeing this is in the text format or string format, and here is the name of the medicine. Now if we want to split, I am going to write a split, and if I write this MRP inside here, look what is going to happen. Here MRP, the word MRP is gone, but it has separated. Here is the list now. Here is the array or the list that you know. Here is the name of the medicine. Here is the price of it. And this is how we are going to make use of it. So if you just need the price, we can do 1. This is 0 indexing and this is the 1. So if we write 1, here is the price of the first medicine. If you want to get the price of the last medicine, if I write -1, it is 82 rupees. Let's go and verify. 82.99. So as we know, -1 is negative indexing, so the last one. So this is this way we are going to get the price and the name of them. So I am just going to use, I'm just making it simpler. So here I am writing med is equal to med.text, because I just need to convert the string, this string, inside the text format. I can use this long syntax, but the long syntax is going to make things more harder. So it is just till here we have written the code. Here is the med, because med is iterating from each medicine, then we are simply converting it into text. Now we need to split it. So for splitting it, let me just use a temp variable. It is going to split our MRP, and then temp is the list now. So if we want to store all of these medicine names as well as the medicine price, we can use dictionary. Yes, the dictionary is going to play an important role. So for that, let's create a default dict, or we can actually go without the default dict, and let me just add the code. Let's say data is equal to dictionary, and what let me run the cell. Now data of the name of the medicine, so TMP of 0, because as we have already seen, if we do 1, that is going to give the price. So is equal to TMP of 1, because 0 is the name of the medicine and 1 is the price of it. So if I run this, and now if I do data of let's say, what was the name of it? So data of this tablet, it should give me the price of it. So this is, yeah, it is giving the price 82.99. So this is working perfectly fine. So this is the name of this tablet, and it is 82.99. So 82.99, it is correct. So till here we have seen how we can scrap everything that is present inside the single web page. Now we need to see how we need to expand this knowledge to scrap each and every pages. So how we need to do that? Let's try to think. So the work can be made a lot easier if we just know how many total pages are there. So can we find this total number? Let's try to find out with this. So how we can get this? So it is a button text link page. This is also a button text link page. A button text link page. So what if we do? Let's do soup dot find all, and if we go here, and say button link page, so class is equal to this. So let's try to do something like this. For a specifying class, we need to say class underscore is equal to button link page. So it is going to find all of them, and we know that this is the last one. This is the last one. The last one is going to tell how many pages are there. So this is 902. So what we can do? First of all, let's just convert the last one, or the -1. Sorry. This is going to take care that we are looking at this one, not the 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to convert it into text. So here you can see it is saying 902. So what we did, we just got the name of all this number in which they are present, and then we use this class to specify the class name. We picked the last one, converted it into text, and we got this number. So with the help of this number, we can easily know how many total pages we need to scrap. Now here is one more important point. So how many pages we need to scrap, how we are going to move forward to the page programmatically. So pay close attention what is going to do happen. As soon as I am going to click 2, make sure what changes are going to be done with the URL. If I click 2, we are on the page is equal to 2. If we are on, let's say, page 901, page is equal to 901. If we are at 902, we are at page 902. So what it is actually going to do, what we can do as a programmer, we know that it is going to 902. So with the help of, we can simply copy this. Okay, we can copy this same this URL, and then we can keep on incrementing this number from 1. So because when we are we can also write 1, and we will be back with our first initial page. If you write this page equal to 1 or not, it does not matter, because we are you can see this tablet 82.9, and this is the same page here. So we are going to be coming to the same page. So what we can do, we can just put all of our code in a function, and then just to make sure the things are going to be much easier, because we need to also do the same task with every letter and for every page. So it is better to put them in a function. So I'll just convert every code that is written inside a function. So I will just go here. So let me just copy that. Okay, so first let me just explain. So this is nothing new, we all know. So instead of default text, you can also do a dictionary. It is not going to make changes here, but let's see what we do. So this is the function fetch data that I have wrote, and this is the URL. So whenever you are going to provide a URL, it is going to scrap the data for that particular page. So for our first page, it is going to scrap all of the thing. The code that we have written are just the code that I have simply put here. So it is going to get to that URL with our header that we have already defined here. Then it is going to find all, it is going to convert it into a soup. Then it is going to find all the class name. And what are this class name? The class name is the same as the name of this medicines with the price. Then we are iterating throughout all of these, as we have already seen. We are converting in text, and then inside our dictionary we are making the medicine name as the key and the price of it as a value, and then here we are finally returning the data, which is dictionary. So let's run this code, and let's first check if it is, whenever you just convert your normal text of the code into a function, just make sure to run it at once for a single page to check if everything is working fine or not. So if I just copy the URL, okay, and I'm just using a rough destructible variable so that I can destroy it further anytime. So it's data, and inside URL, this is the URL. Now it is done fetching. So previously, if we were doing things like that, it was giving the price, so it should give the same. Instead of that dictionary, here is instead of TT, instead of data, we have now TT. So if I run this, the price is same, which means our function is working properly. But now we need to make sure that this code is running for all 902 number of times. So for that, and then also we need to make sure that all the data that we are getting should be inside a single dictionary. Every time new data is coming, it is not should be like that the first page of the data should be inside the dictionary, and then when another website page came, the dictionary is overwritten. This should not like that. This should contain each and every medicine from each and every pages from 1 to 902. So first we are focusing on just letter A. We are just going to grab each and every page from it, and then we are going to put inside a single dictionary, because this is going to be very important while putting our data inside a data frame, or then converting it into either Excel, CSV, or any format that you may like. So how we are going to write that logic? So I will just okay, for before telling you how it can be done in a way, let's try to see how we can simply keep on adding those data inside our dictionary. So if let's say we have, let's say d is equal to 1 and this is corresponding to 1, and then there is 2 that is corresponding to 2. So this is our one dictionary, and let us suppose the other dictionary is C is equal to 4:4. So how we should update the dictionary with that is going to contain both of this value. So let us suppose this D is our initial one and we need to update it. So we can simply write, let me just simply run it. We can simply use D dot update and then we can say C. And now if I print D, D is going to contain the data from D itself and then C also. So this is the logic that we are going to be using. Let us suppose that D is the data that is from the first page, and once the data is returned from the second page that is stored inside the C, we can just say D dot update C. So D is also going to contain the data from page 1, and then it is also going to contain the data for page 2, then page 3, page 4, and each and for third time it is going to contain the data for page 1 and page 2, and then it is going to also add the data of page 3 inside it. Then it have the data of page 1, page 2, page 3, and it is going to continue like that. I think you got the idea. So I just needed to explain this. So in order to get the maximum pages, what we need to do? So first of all, let's create a list that is going to contain how much this A, the total number of pages that A have, the total number of pages that B have, the total number of pages that C have. So it is going to be easier while we are iterating throughout the several pages. So we can generate the link for each of them. So how we are going to see? So we have already seen how we can find the name with this 2. So page 3, page 4. So here the URL keep on changing. So that is the same thing that we need to do with ABCD. If you are at A, you see there is no changes up here. But as soon as you go to B, label is B, label is F, label is I. So if I just turn it to A2, it is going to A, which means we need to use this label. Label is going to say for this page, this is the because when we are at the label A, it is going to say we need to get this number 902, which means for A we need to scrap the A for 902 pages. And if we are going to, let's say, L, so for L we need there are 403 pages, so we need to scrap that for 403 pages. So here we are going to just get these numbers for each letter from the alphabet from A to Z. So here we have seen that the label is changing. So what we can do actually, if you know the numbers or the characters have their ASCII value. So if if we do CHR, the ASCII value of 97 is A. So if you do 97, it is showing A. So this is the way that we are going to be iterating from A to Z. So the if 97 is the A, then you can see 122. 122 is the Z. So from 97 to 122 we have to iterate, and then with the every page name we have to add that particular character to it. And what we are going to get from here is total number of pages for each website. So let me just copy these. So here I have created I is equal to 97 because it is corresponding to A. I is 97, which means I is A. Because in character, when we are going to convert, you are going to see that is going to make more sense here. So while we can use while I is less than 122, we have to also use equal to, because we need to go till 122. We need to go till Z. It is not like we have to just stop at Y. We don't need to go to Z. So this equal to is important. And then we need to specify the URL again. Then for here the we have to take the URL till this label, and then we have to add plus CHR of I. Why this CHR? As we have already seen, if we write just 97, it is just going to print 97, but as soon as we convert this into CHR, it is going to assume that it is the ASCII value of a character, and it is going to convert inside a character. That is what it is going to do. And then once we are at this page, level, let's say L itself, then how many pages are there? So we have already seen how we can simply find them. We can just simply click here, go here, and we have already seen the button text link was this class name. So this was the class name that was used to find this number. So what we can do, I'm just simply going to copy paste the code and I will explain it to you. Okay, just fix this response one. So what we are going to do, first of all, we need to send the request to that particular website for each and every website. So here we are getting the response, we are using that same header, and then soup to just clean up the text so that the finding, this find all, this different type of functions are just made lot and easier and accessible. And then what we need to do, we need to find the number, like total number of pages that are there. So we have already seen that was -1 because A is going to contain all the names. So if we have seen above, the -1 which was going to return the last one, and then this was a text. So if you see, this is a string, this is not a number, so we need to also typecast this string into an integer. So that is the thing that we will be doing here. Okay, let me just check. Here, yes, we are typecasting it into an integer. So this is an integer now, this number, and then we are simply appending that number into our list, this max number, and then we are simply incrementing our I. So if we run this, this is going to take time because remember, this is going to go to each and every pages from A to Z and then gather the total maximum number of pages that they have. So it will take time. So just have patience. And if you are having any doubt or any trouble, please make sure to ask in the comment and I will be happy to help. If you are watching this video till now, please just don't forget to press that like button. So it's done. So let us try to check let's start with let's just check all at once. So here 902, let's check. Of course it is 902. So if you go to A, it is 902. So this, our code is right. Let's check for B. We are just going to check for 1 to 2 characters just to make sure our code have worked properly. 257, okay. This is right. Let's go to check for Z because we don't want to be looking at all of them. 247. So 247. So yes, our code have worked great, and each of the numbers are in an integer form. So now we have the list of all total number of pages for each of them. Now what we need to actually do is, first of all, start with the page 1 or page A, and then in page A go 902 times, means generate 902 URLs. So 902 URLs are going to be looking something like this. Okay, just scroll down. So for 1, then page 2, page 3, page 4 till page 902. Then again start with B, do the same thing with B, start with B and go to page 1, page 2, page 2 till 257. So that is what we are going to be doing now. So for that, we already have the code for fetching data for a single page. Now we just need to replicate it for multiple pages. So what, let me just find the code. So here I am just writing a kind of a main function which is responsible for getting all of them. So here first of all we are creating a data dictionary for this is the dictionary that is going to contain each and every name of the medicine with their respective price. Then here J is 96, so 96 plus 1, 97, that is going to be using on this just for visualizing purpose, because we need to see on which character we are currently working with. So that is just the reason of it. It serves no other reason than just printing out like we are working on A, working on B, working on C. That is just the purpose of it. You can use it or you cannot use it. And then here we are using for pages in max page. So what is this max page? So here for pages in max page is going to say, as we have already seen, this was all the data that was inside our max pages. So this contains for A, first of all for page, it will contain the total number of pages for A, then it will go again total number of pages for B. So it is going to go for a particular single one, and then we have to iterate from that number of times. So what it is actually doing is, first of all, this we know that page is equal to 902 and I is set to 1. Why 1? because there is no page 0. There is no page 0 there is, because it is starting from page 1. That is why here we are writing I is equal to 1, because it needs to be this page. Here you see I is set to 1, and why this is inside the loop, just remember, because for A we need to start with 1, and then again when B is going to come, then we need to start with 1. That is why it is inside this loop, inside the for loop, and this for loop is controlling from A to Z. Remember, this is going to control from A to Z. Then this while loop is the one that is going to control for a single character, for A entire pages, for B entire pages, for C entire pages, things like that. This is just responsible for that. So here we are writing for while I is less than pages, which means it is less than 902. Go to this URL, where we know that after page we need to add plus str of I. Str of I, which is simply going to convert this I into string. We are not using chr, remember the difference. Let's not just confuse. If I write str of 97, it is just 97, but if we just use the chr of 97, okay, there are 297, why not? It is going to convert it into a ASCII character, because chr converts the ASCII value into a particular given character. That is why here we are using str, which is we're going to be showing like page plus page equal to 1, and here we need to specify the label as well, and label is equal to chr of j. This is the reason for using this j. So if we write this in a single format, so if I write like this page, and let us suppose page is equal to 1, page equal to 1, and label and the label is equal to a. So here you see it is going to show the page number 1 for A. If we change to B, it is going to show the page number 1 for B. But if we can also write 12, then it will show the page number 12 for B. So that is the reason why here we have also a label, because this is the way we are going to know on which character, character are we actually working with. So that is the use of this label. And then here after all these things are done, we are calling the fetch data. Fetch data is the function that is responsible for fetching the data from a single page. So this was the function that we have wrote and understood before, and we are calling it, and we are just making sure that the things that are written are in dictionary. And then inside our main data we are simply updating it, so that every information, every bit of information is stored inside this data variable. So if I will run this code, this is going to take lots of time. So if I just say main, so here it is going to take time, because it is working on A, and then it is going to iterate to A 902 times, B 246 times, or whatever total number of pages are there. So it will take time. And then here I have done one small mistake. I am not catching inside the data, but no worries. I have made error. Let me just stop it, because this I, the value of I, like the page number str of I, is also required to be updated. So it should also be done inside the while loop, because this while loop will go till infinity. I plus is equal to 1. And then we also need, so if you need to save this data inside an Excel format. So here is the data. Data is what? Data is a dictionary. So if we need to save dictionary to an Excel, I have also let me just also write the function for it. So here is the function for that. So what it is going to do? Save to CSV. So this is the code just to save the things inside that CSV. So here is the name. what we have of the medicine. We have the name of the medicine, we have the price of the medicine, and then here we are saying for key in data. So for key in data, which means the data that we were getting after this fetch data. Let me just use that variable name to explain you in more detail, the tt1. So this was the key and this was the value. So we are just taking this key. So name dot append, because name is the key. The name is the key because name is the name of the medicine we have treated as a key, and then price is the value. So we are getting the value from this data, like we used to write this name and get this value, the price. We are getting it, and once we have got all the name of those medicine with their price, we are creating a data frame. And here we are specifying the medicine name, like the name of the column or just the column name. Medicine name is going to contain the list of all the names, and then the price is going to contain the list of all the price. And then after creating this dictionary, we are simply converting the dictionary to a data frame. And then once it is done, we are simply saving it to an Excel. So what we can do, we can simply copy this code. So it is similar. So this the code is similar. We are just wrote getting all the data, saving inside the next. So once this web scraping process is done, we just need to know that this saving process have started. So I have written the saving have started. Then this data is sent. The data is nothing but the dictionary that contains each and every medicine from our list, and then we are simply printing it out. Data is saved inside an Excel file. Now if I run the main, it is going to run and save each and every data that we have inside an CSV file, and that CSV file will appear here. So this was the way that you can perform a static web scraping on any web page, and of course this is going to take a couple of minutes. I think it will take 20 to 30 minutes, so I will just stop it. Or let's just wait. Okay, so let me just stop it. It will work. It's guaranteed to work because I have checked it before, and I will be providing this code on the description section above, so that you can use the reference from there. So now we have seen how we can perform web scraping, and with this knowledge, you can scrape any of the website, even the Flipkart, Amazon, or any of those. But now let's try to see how you can scrape something that is not static, which is dynamic, which just keeps on changing with so I will take an example of that. So for that we will be using Selenium. So Selenium is an automation tool that is inside Python too. It is inside Python, and it is also inside the Java. So it is used for testing purpose, but we can also use it for web scraping purpose. So what Selenium actually do is just mimic how we actually do the browsing. So it will open up the browser, it will get the data and things like that. So I will just, okay, so here now let's try to see how we can scrap the dynamic web page. So I have the code written, but fear not, I will explain each and every aspect of it. So here is the link. Let us suppose this is the link of the website. Sorry, I just need to remove this. And then here we have to write the email address and password of it. So if here if we do web page, so you can see this is just it. If we try to find this word place order inside this, Control F to find. Okay, I will just write it down. So there is not even a word that is going to contain the word place. So if we try to scrap this website, or let's just try to see what is the data that we are going to get. If we open up the VS Code, this is just another file. So just for the trial, I'm just using this one only. So I'll just write u is equal to this particular URL, and if we send the RES, response is equal to request dot get, and then we are going to specify the URL, and then also we are going to use headers is equal to headers, and then this is response res. So we can see if we run the code here, we are seeing response 200, which means the page was there. But if we do content, this is the content, and if we just even try to check if this word number exists inside this HTML code or not. So what we can do, we can just simply paste number in, and then we can just typecast this into string or better checking, and here it is showing false. So in the previous example where we see that it was showing true because that was available inside that HTML code, but here we can see that it is not available inside the HTML code. So this is the problem that comes when the websites are a bit dynamic. So for solving those type of problems, we are going to be using Selenium. So this is the Selenium that we will be using it. And what is Selenium going to do? So let me just import this things. So from Selenium, import WebDriver. So WebDriver is very important for running this Selenium, because what Selenium is going to do, it is going to open up the browser and do all the scraping for us. So I have simply run it. I am also going to run with the URL. Now here comes the important part. So if you are running it for the first time, please make sure to run this code, which is to install this WebDriver. So you need to first install the WebDriver for running it, or else what you can do, you can simply use this code for creating an instance. So it is simply going to fix and download the WebDriver for you, or if you are on any other systems, you can also download them manually and use it, but I prefer using this code way because it is more easily reliable. It is just going to find the particular version of the Chrome that I have, and it is going to fetch data accordingly. And then here on the second line of code, you are going to see driver.getURL. So what it is going to do? It is going to do nothing except the thing that was being done with our request library. So here we used to say request.get the particular URL, then we need to specify the header and things like that. But here we can say driver.getURL. So it is going to open up a web browser, open up this web page. Yes, it is going to open up the web page. But here the beauty of it is that we can enter the values here. We can send the keystrokes here. So that is what we will be seeing once this driver instance is available. So let's just give it a minute or two. Or till it is happening, let's try to see the code. So here we are just sleeping for 10 seconds just to make sure if we have the slow internet connection and if this website did not load well, how we are going to even get the data. And after the 10 seconds is over, here we are finding element by ID because we need to find this. So if we just do inspect, and we need to see what is here. So because here is the thing that we need to input details. So here if you see, okay, I think our code have our web scraper have done working with our code. So here you can see Chrome is being controlled by automated test software because this is opened with the help of this Selenium after it have done completing the thing. So if we write driver.getURL, I am just explaining the code bit by bit. So let's see what it is going to do. You can see it open up that page. So driver.getURL just open up that particular URL. And now if we need to enter data inside this, we need to find where it is. So either you can do here or again inspect element, and here again if you see, here is the input placeholder where we can input the things, placeholder, the name of, here is the particular ID. It does not have the class names, so you need to find something unique. You need to have a little bit of knowledge of HTML before getting into web scraping. So here is the ID. So this ID is equal to mobile number or email ID. So that is what we will be using to get to this. because again remember, this is just a code. We get into this column and then we need to send keys. We need to send keys, like whatever we need to write here is need to be sent. So here you see with that the value just updated. So I have the variable name email and the password that contains email and the password for this website. Of course, I am not going to be showing or sharing you because this is just a personal website. So, but this thing can be used to any website. Just remember that. First of all, we went up to this browser. We have to figure out which is this place where we can and input the values with the help of this ID. It can be ID, it can be class or anything like that, or it can be even you have to copy. You can even use XPath or anything like that. Sometimes this class name or ID name keep on changing and it does not work. And that places you have to try using the XPath or CSS selector. There are multiple of different type of selector. I can simply create an entire video course on this Selenium, and if you are interested in that, I will also create it. But for this tutorial, I am just going to be showing you using this, and also I will be using some of the XPath techniques too in the upcoming part. So what we did here, we wrote driver.findElement by ID, so it just discovered this part with this ID, mobile or email. Then .send keys. So .send keys is going to send whatever you passed it with. So here I have written the email. So email, I just can show you the email. If I just write email, I have specified the email and I have just deleted that. So this is the email address that I had, and this is the variable name, and the same way the password is also there. So this email will be sent here, and then let me just simply show you. If I now run the code, so get URL, we have the get URL. Now if we write the send keys, you see what happened. It sent all the keys that was mentioned inside our variable, and of course this garbage text too. So let me just simply delete it, and let's rerun it again. So if I'm going to rewrite it, you can see the text inside this variable is simply thrown and printed out here. And how we get to this, we simply used inspect element, and here make sure whatever tag is used for that. Here is the input tag, so here we are going to here we have used the input one. And then once we have entered the thing, what we actually need to do, we need to click on this continue button. So for that we can go here, and here you can find the button. It is containing this particular class name. Here this is just a button, but here is the class name that this button is there. So here we can also use, it is more or less similar like our Selenium, our soup.findAll and things like that, where they are inside our soup, and the same thing is inside our driver. So instead of creating a soup, here we created our driver. So driver.findElement by class name. So it is going to find this element by class name using this particular class. So instead in soup, what we need to do, find all, then we need to say class is equal to this particular class, but in this we have everything separate, find elements by class name and things like that. So here we specify the class name, and here we can say dot click. So after specifying this thing, we can also say what actions are required to be taken here. So if I do this here, so this, you can see it will simply click here. This code clicked here, and now here we are at the continue page. So now I have just used this sleep again. So till here I think everything is clear with the Selenium. We are finding element by ID, okay, sending keys if it is the things like blank. Here we are seeing how we can enter the data or log into the website. Then we are going to see how we can scrap some of the content from the website. So that is also coming. So just don't leave yet. So here is here we are using sleep. So just to make sure that this web page gets loaded before everything in our code plays well. So then here we have to find this one. So this one, if you see the ID is the password. So here we have used find element by ID. So if you get if you see the ID, use find element by ID. If you see the class, find element by class. And if that is also not working, then use something known as XPath that is coming up next. But till here we have seen the ID was available. So here we used ID. Then here we are going to be sending the keys for the password. Then here again, this button have also the same class name as our previous button. So we have used that. You can also verify just by clicking here, hovering up here, and here the button is there, and then the name is just matching, and then we are simply clicking it. So what I will do, I'll just simply copy the code here, paste it, and I will run it, and it have just entered our password, and it have clicked on continue. And if the password were correct, you will be simply able to log into the website. So this was the way how we can simply log in to any website or any dynamic website using the Selenium framework. As this video was getting longer, I have decided to generate or create the Selenium part or the dynamic web scraping part in the upcoming videos. So for that, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, and just please make sure to like the video if you have learned something new from this. Thanks for watching.